I am Kaya Nexus, Pleiadian emissary of the Council of the Seven Sisters. A gentle realignment is taking place. Your relationship with abundance is shifting. The universe does not ask you to understand, only to receive. What is arriving is sacred, and it needs quiet to be felt. Before we continue, receive this gently. What you are feeling is not imbalance. It is sensitivity awakening. You are not late, and you are not failing. Your awareness is arriving on time. Starseed, stop scrolling. What you are about to receive was not meant to meet you in a casual moment. It was meant to find you when your field was finally ready to hold it, without collapsing into old doubt. In the earlier hours of this Earth night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., a wave of Pleiadian frequency moved through the upper layers of the collective grid and pressed against the soft gate of my awareness. Not as fear, not as drama, as urgency shaped like love. And the transmission was clear. Someone can no longer wait. Their silent years must end today. You may think an algorithm brought you here. You may think you randomly landed on this message, but you know the truth already. You felt it in your chest before your mind tried to name it. That strange mix of relief and trembling is not anxiety, it's recognition. Your body remembers a frequency your mind cannot yet translate, because your timeline has been carrying a hidden weight. Delays that were not your fault, closures you could not control, betrayals you could not prevent, and seasons where it felt like the universe went quiet right when you needed confirmation the most. The old forces that feed on confusion assumed you would interpret silence as rejection. They assumed you would turn your sensitivity into self-blame. They were wrong. At 3:17 a.m., your name was activated inside a living archive of light. Not a file in a religious heaven, but a crystalline registry held in the Pleiadian memory stream, where every intention, every prayer-like whisper, every tear frequency, every moment you kept walking despite not being praised, is recorded as data of the soul. And what was revealed was not small compensation. It was a sevenfold recalibration, an energetic return that restores what was drained, redirects what was delayed, and multiplies what was stolen into a higher form. Not because you begged hard enough, but because your field matured enough. Stay until the end. Not because you need to earn anything, but because when you stay present, you remain in resonance. And resonance is the receiving mechanism. Before we go deeper, type, "My compensation is here" in the comments. This is not performance. This is coherence. When you write it, you anchor the frequency into language, and language shapes reality. And if your heart is already burning with quiet certainty, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this transmission is only the beginning of what will become very specific to your personal path. Now, let me translate what I was shown at 3:17 a.m. There are places in the unseen architecture of reality that humans sense but rarely describe with accuracy. One of those places is a Pleiadian harmonic repository, a vault not built of metal or concrete, but of organized light and intelligent geometry. It is not storage in a material sense. It is the natural holding field where blessings, opportunities, healings, and alignments remain preserved when a timeline becomes temporarily distorted by interference, trauma loops, inherited density, or the collective noise that knocks sensitive souls off their true trajectory. In the transmission I received, I was not taken somewhere by force. My consciousness simply shifted. I was standing inside an immense structure whose walls rose beyond perception. Shelves extended into infinity, not as objects, but as layers of potential. And on each layer were luminous parcels, frequency bundles, each wrapped in shimmering photonic seals. Each had a name signature. Each had a delivery window etched into it as timeline coordinates. Each carried an authorization mark that could only be opened by higher alignment, never by human striving. I asked the guardian presence beside me what this place was, and the answer came as a direct knowing. This is the vault of withheld frequencies. This is where what was meant for you remained untouched when distortion delayed it. Look closely at how that changes everything. You were not forgotten. You were not punished. You were not rejected. What was yours did not disappear. It was preserved, intact, uncorrupted, waiting for the moment your system could safely receive it without losing yourself again. Then I was guided to a particular sector, and the moment I arrived, the resonance intensified. I saw an overflowing collection of parcels, all bearing the same signature, yours. Not your legal name only, your energetic signature, the one your soul has always known. And the question rose in me, the same question you've asked in silence. Why were there so many? Why did it take this long? The answer came without blame. It came as truth. This one carried inherited distortions, not as a curse in religious language, but as unresolved ancestral patterns, unprocessed trauma imprints, and agreements made in unconscious survival. The distortions were used as loopholes by parasitic forces that feed on delay. Let's translate that into something practical. When your ancestors lived in fear, scarcity, shame, or suppression, their nervous systems wrote that code into the bloodline. Not because they were bad, because they were surviving. Those codes become default settings in the collective family field. And when you, the sensitive one, arrive in a body that can finally break the pattern, you become the point of pressure. You become the one the old forces try to stall, because if you succeed, the entire line changes. So the interference targeted your momentum. It targeted your clarity. It targeted your sense of being supported. It didn't need to destroy you. It only needed to exhaust you. But at 3:17 a.m., I heard the sound of seals breaking, thousands at once. Not because someone allowed you, because the legal architecture of distortion collapsed when your timeline reached the threshold of readiness. Your field matured, your frequency stabilized, your identity became less negotiable. And then something happened that I need you to feel, not just understand. The parcels began to move. Not slowly. Not when you deserve it. They moved as if gravity itself changed direction. As if your life suddenly became the magnet. The guardian presence communicated. Tell them, the silent years are over. Compensation has begun. It will come in clusters. It will come in waves. It will come as synchronization. If you've lived through years where nothing seemed to land, it can feel unreal to imagine things arriving quickly. That's why the next 72 hours matter. When the mind expects disappointment, it unconsciously resists receiving. It calls good news too good. It calls alignment temporary. It calls miracles coincidence. That resistance is the last net the distortion uses. So here is your first training. You do not chase. You do not beg. You do not panic. You hold your field steady. A sign of compensation is not always money in your hand. Sometimes it is a door opening that never opened before. Sometimes it's an apology you never expected. Sometimes it's your nervous system feeling safe for the first time in years. Sometimes it's a burst of clarity that makes you realize you were never behind. You were being recalibrated. Cliffhanger. And what I was shown next was not one blessing, but 5 categories of frequency parcels, each carrying a different form of return, each with a specific timing pattern your body can recognize. Abundance is not a moral reward. It is a frequency relationship. The Pleiadians teach that money, opportunities, and resources are simply forms of circulating energy, and the only reason they become heavy is because humans attach trauma to them. When you've lived through scarcity, your body equates abundance with danger. If I have more, I'll be targeted. Or, if I receive, I will owe. Or, if I succeed, I will be abandoned. Those are not truths. They are survival echoes. In the transmission, I was shown your financial history, not as bank numbers, but as energetic records. Moments where you were qualified but overlooked, where you worked twice as hard for half the return, where opportunities collapsed at the last second, where the timing always seemed almost right, but never fully landed. I saw the emotional weight of bills that multiplied no matter how responsibly you tried to manage them. I saw the fatigue of always being the strong one, always being the one who figures it out. And then I saw the reason interference focused there, not because you are greedy, because of what you would do with overflow. There are souls who, when they receive, become more generous, not less. They build, they support, they uplift. They create sanctuaries for others. You are one of those. And the old parasitic grid hates that type of soul, because abundance in your hands becomes liberation for many. So what did the vault contain in this category? I saw parcels labeled unexpected income, not random, synchronized; debt dissolution, not luck, rebalancing; business breakthrough, not hustle, alignment; resource transfer, not theft, restoration; generational recalibration. The line changes through you. Now listen carefully. The Pleiadian frequency does not punish you into abundance. It invites you into stewardship. And stewardship begins with your nervous system. If you are constantly bracing for loss, you will struggle to hold gain. Not because you're failing, because your body is still living in the old chapter. So the first part of financial compensation often arrives as inner safety. You feel calmer. You stop expecting collapse. You stop over-explaining your dreams. You stop shrinking so others won't feel threatened. Then the outer signs arrive. Within 21 days, you may receive a resource from a source you did not expect. It could be an offer, a collaboration, a repayment, a refund, a client, a contract, a new role, a creative idea that monetizes easily because it matches your truth. Do not dismiss it because it arrives too smoothly. Smooth is not suspicious. Smooth is alignment. Here is a practical Pleiadian protocol for the next 21 days. When money fear rises, place a hand on the solar plexus and breathe slowly for 90 seconds. Tell your body, we are safe to receive. Remove one scarcity habit a day: doom spending, panic checking, impulse hoarding, or self-punishing budgets. Replace it with one stewardship habit: tracking calmly, planning gently, investing in skills. When a door opens, do not overanalyze it into closure. Take one step. The next step will reveal itself. Because compensation is not just cash, it's momentum returning. Cliffhanger. But the second category is more intimate than finances, because it involves the part of you that learned to survive alone and the new connections that will feel almost impossibly familiar. If this channel has helped you in any way, this ebook is a beautiful way to support the work and keep these messages alive. The Pleiadian map of personal transmutation was created with care to share tools that help raise your frequency, clear old patterns, and reconnect with your multidimensional self through the 7 Pleiadian phases of energetic transmutation. Inside, you'll find practical techniques, realignment exercises, vibrational protocols, and gentle rituals for consciousness expansion. By purchasing this ebook, you directly support the channel and allow this content to continue reaching more people. Limited edition. The link to get yours is in the first pinned comment. Thank you for being here and for supporting this journey. Relationships are not just social. They are energetic architecture. The people around you either stabilize your field or destabilize it. And when you've been repeatedly betrayed, misunderstood, or emotionally abandoned, your system does something intelligent. It builds walls. Not because you want to be cold, because you want to survive. In the Vault transmission, I was shown the relational timeline that shaped your defenses. Friendships that ended without closure, family members who turned into strangers, love offered to people who couldn't hold it, loyalty repaid with manipulation, trust shattered by those who should have protected you. I felt the moment you decided quietly, it's safer to be alone than to be broken again. That decision kept you alive. Honor it. But it is not meant to be permanent. The Pleiadians teach that isolation is a distortion of independence. Independence is sacred. Isolation is a wound. So what is compensation here? It's not everyone comes back. It's not you forgive and return to what harmed you. Compensation is your field becomes so clear that the right people can finally recognize you and the wrong people can no longer access you. I saw parcels labeled covenant friendships, safe, mutual, consistent, divine mentors, not controllers, expanders, aligned partners who amplify your truth, soul family bridges, connections that feel ancient, collaborative destiny, shared missions. And here's the key. The right people were also in their own refinement. You were not the only one being shaped. Some were learning accountability. Some were healing their avoidance. Some were learning how to love without consuming. Some were learning to listen. That's why the timing took time. Within 14 days, watch for a sign. A conversation that goes deeper than expected, quickly. A name that repeats across different channels. An invitation that feels gentle, not pressuring. A person who sees you without you performing a connection that triggers peace, not adrenaline. You may try to talk yourself out of it. Your mind may say, it's too soon, but your body will tell the truth. When something is aligned, your nervous system softens. You breathe deeper. You stop bracing. Now I need to speak to you about discernment, the most important skill in relational compensation. Discernment is not suspicion. Discernment is clarity. If a connection requires you to abandon your boundaries to be loved, it is not covenant. If a connection demands quick intimacy with no consistency, it is not soul family. If a connection makes you feel small, confused, or guilty for being sensitive, it is not aligned. Covenant feels like you can be honest without punishment, and when you meet it, do not rush. Let it build slowly. Stability is the new romance. And now we enter the category that many starseeds avoid speaking about, the body. Because your body is not a limitation. It's a translator of frequency, and it has been carrying interference that was never yours. Your body is not separate from your spirituality. Your body is your instrument. It is the sacred interface between dimensions. And when your body has been tired for a long time, when you normalize pain, inflammation, symptoms you can't explain, exhaustion that never fully lifts, it is often not because you are weak. It is because your system has been operating under energetic strain. In the Vault transmission, I was shown the way many starseeds carry inherited imprints in their biology. Patterns of stress chemistry that run through family lines, nervous system hypervigilance passed down through survival generations, emotional suppression stored in organs, grief locked into muscles, unspoken rage stored in the jaw and shoulders, fear stored in the gut. This is not mystical fantasy. It is frequency physiology. The Pleiadians teach that healing is not a battle. It is a return to coherence. And coherence is what happens when your cells receive consistent safety signals. I saw parcels labeled cellular restoration, deep repair through coherence, organ support, systems returning to rhythm, pain dissolution, tension releasing as truth lands, energy renewal, vitality returning in waves, whole body integration, you in your body again. Now, what does it look like when compensation begins in the body? It often starts subtly. You wake up and realize the dread is quieter. You take a breath and notice your chest is less tight. You walk and your legs feel lighter. Your digestion improves. Your sleep deepens. You stop clenching your jaw. Your body begins to trust life again. Within 21 days, many will notice a clear shift. A symptom fades, energy returns, a test result improves, a chronic pattern loses intensity. If you've been living in ongoing fatigue, even a 10% improvement will feel like a miracle, because it reminds you what normal could be. But listen, do not demand instant perfection from your body. Your body has been loyal to you through storms. Speak to it like you love it, because your cells respond to your tone. Practical Pleiadian body protocol. Hydrate with intention. Water holds frequency. Speak a simple statement. This water carries coherence. Reduce one inflammatory input for 14 days. Doom scrolling at night, constant caffeine, emotionally toxic conversations. Add one coherence practice daily. Slow walking, sunlight, grounding, breathwork, gentle stretching. Stop treating rest like weakness. Rest is integration. The old parasitic grid tries to convince starseeds they must push through to prove worth. That is distortion. Your worth is not earned by suffering. Your compensation includes the right to feel well. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. But even if the body begins to heal, there is one place interference attacks hardest: the mind. And what I saw in the vault was a category of parcels that changes everything within 72 hours. The mind of a starseed is not fragile. It is high resolution. It processes more layers of reality than most people acknowledge. And when the mind is overloaded, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means your system has been receiving too much noise with not enough grounding. In the transmission, I saw your thought life not as sin or spiritual warfare in religious language, but as energetic pressure patterns, intrusive spirals that arrive at night, sudden waves of sadness that don't match your current reality, anxiety that grips the chest, mental fog that makes simple decisions feel impossible, self-doubt that sounds like your own voice even when it isn't. I also saw how you learned to mask it, smiling while your inner world was exhausted, saying "I'm fine" while feeling like you were dissolving, carrying responsibilities that would crush most people, and still showing up. Then the Pleiadian message came through with authority. The era of torment is ending. The era of quiet clarity begins. I saw parcels labeled sound mind, coherent thought patterns, perfect peace, nervous system settling, mental clarity, fog lifting, emotional stability, waves calming, joy restoration, lightness returning. Within 72 hours, many will feel a shift, not because your life becomes perfect, but because your inner atmosphere changes. You will notice a thought that is peaceful, a moment where you don't brace, a breath that goes deeper, a clarity that slices through confusion, hope that rises without external evidence. And here's the truth: when mental peace arrives, manifestation accelerates, because your energy stops leaking into fear. A practical protocol for the next 72 hours. Guard your inputs. What you consume becomes part of your field. Reduce conflict exposure. Do not prove yourself to people who cannot see you. When doubt speaks, do not argue with it. Label it old pattern. Then return to breath. Write one sentence: I am safe to receive. Read it morning and night. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. And now, we arrive at the most important compensation of all, because when purpose returns, everything else reorganizes around it. Purpose is not a job title. It is a frequency role. It is the unique way your consciousness is meant to serve the evolution of reality. And when purpose is unclear, it's not because you have no gifts. It's because your gifts are too big to be handed to you before your nervous system is stable enough to carry them. In the vault transmission, I felt the deepest ache you carry. Why am I here? Not as a religious question, as an existential pulse. The kind of question you ask quietly while watching others seem to move with certainty. The kind of question that makes you start and stop projects, not because you're lazy, but because you can feel you're meant for something precise. The Pleiadians teach that purpose is often protected by confusion until the right moment. Because if you had known too early, you would have tried to build it with a wounded identity, and the world would have consumed you before you were ready. So what did I see? Parcels labeled divine assignment, your mission crystallized. Calling clarity, your yes becomes easy. Gift activation, skills awaken rapidly. Platform expansion, visibility increases safely. Destiny unlocked, timelines converge. Within 14 days, many will experience a sudden download, a moment where you know exactly what to do next. Not a vague inspiration, a clear instruction. It may come as an idea that doesn't leave you, a sentence that repeats in your mind, a concept that lights your whole body, a path that feels obvious in hindsight. When purpose compensation begins, watch for these signs. You stop needing external approval to start. You feel disciplined without forcing it. You become more selective with energy. Your creativity returns in waves. People begin asking you for what you carry naturally. If you are a creator, this is where your platform expands, not through desperation, but through frequency. You stop copying, you stop chasing trends. You transmit, and the right audience finds you because your message is a match, not a performance. This is also where many starseeds face the final test: visibility fear. The old grid whispers, if you shine, you'll be attacked. But the Pleiadian truth is, when you shine in coherence, you become protected by resonance. You are not exposed, you are anchored. If this channel has helped you in any way, this ebook is a beautiful way to support the work and keep these messages alive. The Pleiadian map of personal transmutation was created with care to share tools that help raise your frequency, clear old patterns, and reconnect with your multidimensional self through the 7 Pleiadian phases of energetic transmutation. Inside, you'll find practical techniques, realignment exercises, vibrational protocols, and gentle rituals for consciousness expansion. By purchasing this ebook, you directly support the channel and allow this content to continue reaching more people. Limited edition. The link to get yours is in the first pinned comment. Thank you for being here and for supporting this journey. But there is one last thing I must tell you: the refusal strategy that distortion uses when it can't stop delivery. And what you do in the next 72 hours decides how smoothly the parcels land. When compensation begins, distortion often cannot stop it, but it can try to make you step out of resonance right before it arrives. This is not punishment. It is pattern. The old grid has one final strategy: provoke you into refusal. Refusal can look like, it's too good to be true. It won't last. I don't deserve it. I should wait until I'm more ready. I should sabotage it before it leaves me. These are not thoughts. They are old programs. In the transmission, the guardian presence communicated something crucial. Delivery has begun. The only variable now is receptivity, not worthiness, receptivity. Receptivity is a skill. It is the ability to stay open without spiraling. So for the next 72 hours, do these 3 things. Guard your heart field. Avoid arguments that drain you. Avoid conversations where you feel you must shrink to be accepted. Avoid explaining your awakening to people committed to misunderstanding you. Save your energy. Your field is doing sacred work. Practice gratitude without desperation. Gratitude is not begging. It is confirmation. It tells your nervous system, this is real. We are safe. Speak gratitude like you are already aligned, not like you are trying to persuade reality. Follow small, intuitive instructions. Compensation often arrives through ordinary actions: sending a message, applying for something, posting a video, saying yes to an invitation, leaving a harmful environment, resting, changing a habit. Your higher self will give you small steps. Take them. And if fear rises, do not shame it. Place a hand on the chest and say, my body is learning to hold more light. Now, to seal this Pleiadian transmission, speak this aloud in your own words. I accept realignment. I accept return. I accept restoration. I accept my relationships becoming safe. I accept my body returning to coherence. I accept my mind becoming quiet and clear. I accept my purpose becoming obvious. I release the identity that only knows delay. I step into the identity that knows alignment. And now the final truth. Your silent years were not wasted. They trained your discernment. They purified your motives. They built humility without shrinking you. They prepared you to hold abundance without arrogance. The compensation is not just back, it is upgraded. If this message impacted your life, leave your like, comment your reflection, and share with others. Each of you is part of this chain of light.